If you're watching this video, you are well aware that golf is one of the hardest, most frustrating sports known to mankind. And our friends at PXG are on a mission to make that a little different. Hi everyone, my name is James Robinson and welcome back to this YouTube channel. Today, no, you read that right, that's not a Hot Wheels car setting off. Do you get it, Bob? 11s? It's an 11 wood. This is brand new from the guys at PXG. It's part of the Lightning range of Fairway woods. 3-weight movable design, adjustable neck, 27-degree 11 wood. Now, a lot of people might think that's a little bit over the top, it's a little bit much, but if you want to make golf easier, if you want to hit, I'm going to say it, potentially more fairways and more greens, this could be one of those special clubs that just has a place in your bag for no apparent reason other than when you feel like you're struggling. And I think that's something which we could all own up to. Look at the shaft we've got in here, by the way, Bob. Little Tour AD graphite design, cool. VF7S. I'm going to put it out there. I think this could be a club, especially with this kind of hardware of shafting, that could work for so many golfers if what, Bob? If it has an element of versatility, nearly. It's going to have forgiveness because of the loft and the weighting and, of course, the tech that's in these new PXG clubs, but shorter shaft length, 27-degree. I'm not expecting loads of distance, but you can see just how easy that is to pat down there. If I can hit this kind of 200 yards like what that's done there, look at where I struck this from. You're not going to believe it. And it's still launched that high with that amount of ease. That's the exact start I wanted to this video. I wanted to misstrike it to show you guys just how easy it can make it, because often people rely on club head speed to generate the ball speed to help generate the spin rate to get the launch. Just cheat, just get one of them. You don't need the speed, you don't really need the strike, you're going to get the launch anyway. So as long as it's going in circa the right direction, we should be okay. Now, because there's so much loft on it, it does feel like the loft is pointing slightly left. So if I aim down the right side, you can see again a lovely high floating shot just starting to the left of where we want it to. Lots of nice turf interaction there. You can actually see if we come in here where we had the ball on the tee and where we've just kind of gone into the ground afterwards. So I do feel like with this amount of loft, you're going to probably take a little bit of a divot. You're going to have some turf interaction because you've got such a sharp leading edge here because of the amount of loft on it. So that's absolutely normal. You're going to see stuff like that, not a problem. Now, where it gets really interesting, I spoke about versatility. Do I have this in the bag instead of something else? Or can I like put it back in the stance and play shots like that? That's exactly what I was hoping for. It's the first time I've actually got this club out on a golf course, and I must admit, so far so good, in essence that it's done what I wanted it to for the first two shots, and the third shot, I've proved to myself I can almost hit it like a 5 wood or even a 3 wood, just a little bit reined in. What I love about those shots, they've all got exactly the same place. So if you're wanting to be more accurate off the tee, could this be the answer? I'd show it you, but it needs a bit of a spruce up.
Ooh.
So lots of different brands are taking this route of making golf. Is it route or route, Bob? Route. Route's American. Yeah, but you lived in America for a bit. You're rubbing off on me. So lots of different companies are taking this route to make golf easier by putting more loft on clubs and, of course, putting a bit more technology in them. You can see the difference here between the 3-wood Tour head and the standard Lightning head. Of course, with 11-degree, we've got 3-way adjustments here. I have the heavyweight set at the back. That kind of shoves CG right to the back of this club. Obviously, that's going to enhance MOI. If you want to have a little bit of draw bias, a bit of fade bias, and to be honest, the way that head's set up and the way that the loft kind of sits, I'd be tempted here to just put the heavyweight a little bit more in that heel so I can just feel like it's going to set off a little bit more on target. That's something certainly to think about, but the technology that PXG have put in all these Lightning woods I think is very, very interesting, because the way we've even got this little kind of ridge down the bottom of the spine there shows that the bottom of the head is going to be a lot more structured and have a lot more stability. So you can see here the 3 shots that we've hit. This is the first one. We have the second one, which is a tiny bit further left, and the third one, which was that lower one, again, just that little bit further. So very happy with front to back dispersion there, incredibly happy with left to right dispersion. And if you can find yourself a golf club that really narrows that dispersion in, so you've got incredible front to back dispersion, immaculate left to right dispersion, you know where that club's going to go. You know how far it's going to pitch, you know how far it's going to run out, you know exactly where you're going to hopefully be playing your second shot from. That's gold dust, and that could really help so many golfers around the world lower those scores and of course improve those handicaps. Right, what's it like out of the rough, Bob? Because essentially this could be the best club I've ever seen for shots out of the thick rough. What you're hoping for here is probably a bit of a flyer. Let's get all these balls together and play. Where should we go from? We'll go from a bit further down because we're going to try and get there. I think I'm going to class this as a bit of a kind of 180 to 200 yard club. And I don't say that as in that's how far it's going to go every time, but I feel like the versatility involved here allows you to potentially have different shots and different lies. So let's try and have some rather, even, should we have one off a bit of a bare patch? Not that they have many here at Woolley Park, but that. So 3 very different lies here. Got one okay, we've got one that's really kind of down in the rough and one that, you wouldn't even try and, should we get it even worse? Get it like, right in the back of it, right. Can we get there? Now, I'm not anticipating this to go overly high. I feel like I can really punt this down there. I'm going to aim right, let it come out a little bit left. Like that. Because that's a ball flight that I would anticipate with like a 5 wood or a 7 wood from a good lie. I feel like it's just like the equalizer, as it were, the Denzel film. Denzel, yeah. The one thing I'm aware of though is with the amount of loft on here, it does want to start left for me, so I am aiming right. I tell you what, that was nearly a wrist breaker. I felt my wrist kind of go there, but the ball's still gone 200 yards down towards the green. Now here's where it's different, because you don't need to try and get into it and kind of use that amount of loft to de-loft it and get it coming out forwards. I'm going to try and get a bit more shallow here and a bit, yeah, kind of sweep it and use the loft nicely. Even if we fat it on the lie, it should still be okay. Look at that. Look at that. Again, it's slightly left, isn't it? So that's worth thinking about. But distance-wise, this is what it's all about. If you're seeing an 11 wood looking like that after your shot, you're probably going to be quite happy. It's doing its job, isn't it? Oof. Okay, so potentially biting off a bit more than we can chew out the rough there with the 11 wood. But again, you can see this dispersion we have. So we have the final shot we hit here. That was the furthest to the left. That's not, I mean, you've not left yourself an ideal location into this par 5, have you? Then we have the other 2 shots, which again are a little bit more on line, but a touch short. So for me, definitely something to think about out of the rough. Would I have been able to get this close with a 5 wood or a 7 wood? Maybe a 7, but definitely not a 5, because we need that amount of loft to get the ball up in the air. I think this will be a totally different proposition in the summer when the ball's bouncing as well, so certainly something to think about there. There's a couple more shots that I want to talk to you about with this, because this could end up being lots of golfers' secret weapon off the tee, out of the rough, from the fairway, and here. Okay, so if you struggle around the greens, hear me out, this 11 wood could be the answer. A 3 wood I find always comes off too firm. A hybrid, again, if it's a low lofted one, comes off really firm. And if you kind of duff and chip and shank your wedges like Big Al,
nailed it,
then you're really going to struggle, aren't you? So this could be the club where even if you've got a bit of a bad lie around the greens, you can just learn, the ball's going to pop up off the loft and you can see how it just releases out nicely. The one thing this is going to take is an element of practice to learn how hard to hit it, but you can see straight away that the more I learn how hard to hit this, I feel like I could get really good at this, Bob, really quickly. And it is just so easy to do. The reason why is, of course, we've got that huge sole which is acting like 1,000,000 degrees of bounce. We have that lovely ridge in the back there to give it a bit more stability. And like I said, the more you practice this, I honestly feel like, Al, if you're watching, I know you watch all of them, mate, don't you? Even from like average lies and bad lies, not that that's where bad golfers struggle, because a lot of bad golfers struggle off good lies, don't they? But back in the stance a little bit, forward shaft lean, just pop it down there. And the ball's pitching here because there's plenty of loft. If I try this with a 3 wood, it doesn't pitch there. It pitches too close to you. And you can really start to get an element of confidence, an element of control. And to be honest, with 6 shots here, I really don't think that's a bad innings at all, Bob, do you? To say that's the first shot we've ever tried as well. So there's one more element I want to show you here, but so far, if you're not thinking about trying a high lofted fairway wood in 2026, you're probably costing yourself shots. That might bother you, it might not, but it's the truth. Well, you think that's too close? No. You see, how often do you find yourself faced with a bush? Quite often. So, what's your option? You either go to the side, you hit a wedge, or do you have a bit of heavy artillery to go straight over it towards the green? We're about 200 yards out. It's into the wind, which doesn't help us. But honestly, with its standard loft here, I think as soon as that dog moves, because I know it's going to want to go left as well, so I'm going to try and hold it open just a touch. Oh, it clipped it. It's clipped it, but I'll tell you what. Well, the dog's just scarpered, so there's that. I think we can get over though, because that wasn't a good strike. That was bottomy, so it's going to launch lower. Oh, so close. Hey, there she goes, Bob. See, I knew it was possible. I feel like, I mean, you could even go closer to it, and it's a shot where rather than hitting a wedge, you're still getting the distance and you're getting it up in the air. Just launch it. Even that, it's clipped him, but it's up there. This is so addictive, by the way. Oh, we're going again, Bob. Nice lie. Clean face. You've got to make par in the stable third. Everyone's thinking, why has he got a timber out here? Surely that's not the play. There she goes. Clipped him again. Be interesting to see how close they are to the green. We've had numerous goes at that. Some have been very successful. Some have been mediocre. Some have been unsuccessful. But it's a lot better than just clipping a wedge over, isn't it? Let's go have a look. So we tested this 11 wood for numbers, and I found it quite interesting actually, because it was really interesting to see just how this club could launch, but also just how varied ball flights we could get. We hit some high shots, we hit some low shots. We used the new full swing kit monitor to see just what kind of numbers we could get, and you can see the differences in ball flights we've managed to generate with this, and that did show different numbers. We had kind of 170 carries with the short or lower shots, right up to 210, 215 carries with the higher shots. So as you can see, very different numbers, but in an average, we had a 144 ball speed, 6,500 spin around, and around a 205 carry, releasing out just a couple of yards. So very, very interesting numbers, and for me, a really versatile club that could work really well for lots of people. So the best shot we hit finished here. A couple of them finished short. One of them we didn't find. But guys, let me know what you think to this kind of club. Could it be a club that you think about putting in the bag? Can I have a distance control again? Really easy and simple to play, and I think could transform the game of so many golfers. That's got to come round and be good now, surely. Surely. Even just for this kind of shot, if you struggle. If you're Big Al in 2026, get this in the bag. Oh!